Hello, today we're going to discuss 10 ways in which animal communication helps people and pets. Animal communication enriches people's relationships with their animals tremendously while solving problems all at the same time. And of the 10 ways I'm going to share with you today, I think reason number 8 will surprise you. A cat who actually felt guilty about something. Hi, my name is Marinda and this here is Artos, my very able and loving assistant. I'm an animal communication coach and author of the book, The Delight Method of Animal Communication. Like you, I just love animals. They're such a joy, aren't they? Number one is animal communication transforms relationships between people and their animals. It makes people and their fur kids so much more aware of how much they love each other. It's one thing having a lovely cuddle, and I just really love it, but it's another thing actually hearing directly from Artos or the fur kid in your life exactly what they're thinking and how they feel about you. And once you hear from your animal how much he or she loves you, it simply transforms your relationship. It's indescribable until you've experienced it. And also, because animals love us so absolutely unconditionally, they also teach us how to love unconditionally. I firmly believe animals raise our frequencies because they actually function on a higher frequency than we do. And frankly, as far as spiritual growth goes, that's a good thing. People often have breakthroughs with, for instance, problems that animals have in their lives. One client had a spooky horse and she was actually scared to ride a horse. I had a chat with a horse who was a magnificent animal with such a huge heart. He actually showed me a picture of how big his heart is. And after I gave her feedback, she went to a horse and they had such a wonderful communion. And now she rides him bareback and bitless. Now, that is a breakthrough. Haven't you often wondered, like, what does Bruno really think? Or what does Artosi really think? And now at last you can know what your animals have been trying to tell you. That is why I love animal communication so much. It's almost like you have a kid who's sick and you think, I wish you could just tell me what's going on. And now, actually, we can hear what they're trying to tell us. Because they try and tell us all the time, we just haven't been able to hear them. Animal communication is great for identifying and solving problems. And it helps the animals also to overcome obstacles because they're not understood by their people. I mean, sometimes we just don't know. There's one example of a horse who refused to leave his paddock. He just wouldn't go out of the paddock. He would rear, he would do anything, but he wouldn't go out. So I asked him why, and he said that he had separation anxiety. I was really impressed with his vocabulary. But what happened is that he lived on a neighboring farm, and then the owner of that farm had given him to the people on the neighboring property. So one morning, his groom saddled him up and rode him over to the next farm. Nobody ever told him that he's not going to see his old paddock buddies ever again. He didn't have to say goodbye. He just didn't know what was happening. He thought he went for a ride. And then the next thing, he was living at the new farm. So it was quite logical to him to refuse to leave the paddock because he wouldn't know where he's going next. So the solution was to reassure him that his people would not give him away without consulting him or sell him without consulting him and letting him know what's happening. It's really important for us to let our animals know if there are changes in their lives because they get anxious. They'd like to know what's happening. Anyway, so there was a happy solution in this case. The horse was able to leave his paddock again after the reassurance. And animal communication even have benefits for people. One of my coaching clients had an amazing breakthrough. She had anxiety issues, and I didn't plan to help her with anxiety. I just gave her an exercise which I call the eagle exercise. And when she did it, she actually overcame her anxiety. So that was an unexpected bonus and a really delightful result. We all know what it is to experience grief around our animals when they cross the rainbow bridge or when they're ill or they get lost. Through animal communication, we can gain a new perspective on what happened with them, and we can also find out how they're feeling now on the other side. And I must say, it really brings so much consolation to people when they hear from their animals who have crossed the rainbow bridge. And I've written about it elsewhere, but death is no biggie for cats. For them, it's just like continuing in another form. The one cat said to me, dead cat, I gave him a blessing. It's a long story. But he said that if for cats, it's just like going from steam to stream to ice. It's just changing phase. Right, and sometimes cats actually do feel guilty about something. I chatted with a cat who felt very guilty about ripping up things, but she just had the urge to do it. So she asked if her people could please buy her old soft toys so that she could rip them up guilt-free. And that actually took a load off her shoulders. So, do you have any questions so far? I'd love to know what questions you have about animal communication. And if you type your question in the comments below, I will try my level best to answer them. Also, there is a link in the comments below where you can subscribe to my newsletter. That way you can get notified of more videos like that, and you also get all kinds of updates about animals and their wonderful, delightful things that they do. Just chatting really sometimes helps animals a lot. It often happens that I just have a conversation with an animal, they get to make their needs known, and they change afterwards. Things just become happier for them. The interesting thing is that it seems that the conversation itself does the job, but also I think it's about being heard. And then animal communication can resolve common problems, such as your dog digging in the garden. I've got a method that I call the XOX method, where I taught my dog not to dig on the lawn, but actually to go and dig in a spot which is like, behind the shed, nothing to worry about. And she eventually got so excited about it that when I got home, she would run ahead to her digging spot and show me how vigorously she could dig in the right spot. Please remember that animal communication is not a new and improved method of actually giving orders to animals. Look, they hear us perfectly well when we ask them to do something or actually instruct them not to do something. Sometimes they choose to listen to us and sometimes they choose not to. But with animal communication, the focus really is to understand where the animals come from and to help them to adjust their behavior so we can all live happily together. And sometimes, actually, the solution is for us to look at ourselves and adjust our behavior towards our beloved fur kids. And during animal communication sessions, they even give tips on how we can do that. It helps us if we understand why an animal is doing something. I mean, the example of the horse in the paddock. We might think he's just stubborn and being difficult, but actually that wasn't the case at all. It was fear-based. And once you understand what's happening, his behavior made perfect sense. Also, we can resolve problems by channeling the animal's energy in a direction that's more desirable. Animals are full of energy. Yes, like Artos just loves playing ball, and if he doesn't get to play ball, he finds something else to do. Yes, when we can then work out a plan and structure the behavior so that they get enough release of their energy. Now, as you know, my mission in life is to make animals happy. So if you'd like a free PDF booklet, 5 magic ideas to improve your dog's happiness now, just click on the link below this video. I've pinned it in the comments. And please give this video a heart if you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching.